Hi, this is Joe from GOJIRA, and you are listening to Pommesgabel, the podcast of Power Metal Tea.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Pommesgabel, the podcast of Power Metal.de. Diese Folge ist auf Englisch, weil wir heute einen Gast aus Frankreich haben. This episode is in English only because we have a special guest from France. Hey, Joe from GOJIRA.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm quite good. It's a sunny weather, so I'm going to go outside after we finish recording here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And my colleague Marcel is also with me. Hi, Marcel.
Hi, Pia. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
As you just said in the beginning, this is Pommesgabel, the podcast of Power Metal.de, and Pommesgabel is the fork that you eat your fries with. It's also the German word for the metal horns. So what do you say in France?
We don't have a word for that, I believe. We just call it a fork.
Okay. And do you have a word for the metal horns in French?
Good question. The devil's horn. We call it the devil's horn. Les cornes du diable.
Okay, thank you. So today we're talking on March 26th. Amazonia has been released also with a video. So I guess we should start with that. First of all, congratulations for the release today.
Thank you so much.
Let's just start with the beginning of the song. Also, the song has Jaws harp sound in the beginning. And I guess it's an homage to the Amazonia and music-wise also Sepultura, right?
I mean, that's what people say, and I understand they say that because it's pretty obvious, but it's not something that we talked about or we wanted to put, it's just an obvious influence that we have, and we knew that everybody would call us out. Hey, this is Sepultura, okay? You didn't invent anything here, but it's true. And this song was written about 2 years ago when there was massive fires in the Amazon before the COVID happened and took the scene. And people's attention went to the COVID, and everybody sort of forgot what was happening in the Amazon. It was not just a coincidence, all these fires happening at the same time. And it was not just, oh, right, the Amazon is endangered. There was something else at play. A new president was elected, Mr. Bolsonaro in Brazil. And since from that moment on, the destruction of the Amazon started stronger and harder I'm saying this because I did quite a bit of research recently working on this charity thing that we're doing for the indigenous tribes. So I had to document I have to, read a lot and talk to a lot of activists and even indigenous leaders. I was talking to me directly through internet. And for about 12 to 13 years, from 2005 to recently 2016, 17, the deforestation slowed down a lot because there was so much awareness. So many artists were raising their voices for the Amazon, and so many scientists, were triggering an alarm to tell people that something really, really bad was happening. We were losing the last ancient rainforest of the earth, and that's quite a big deal. So as a result, the deforestation slowed down by 70%, which is tremendous. Still endangered. Still, people were still cutting trees down and everything, but a lot of regulations happened. We were not allowed to take wood, precious wood from the Amazon like that anymore and stuff like that. So it got better, so to speak. Less bad. But the minute Bolsonaro got elected, everything went again times 10. The deforestation started all over again and stronger, and in a very, very horrible way, because there's so much profit in this land. There's gold and there's real estate, really. For cattle, for soybean, and for new constructions. And I actually was surprised how much gold mining is still a real thing. And then I thought it was sort of a romantic thing of the past. You imagine people digging for gold or looking for gold. It is a reality in the Amazon, and it is really destroying the forest. So I was reading a lot about it, and we felt so bad to see the flames destroying the forest with my bandmates. We were writing new songs at the time. We got together, and immediately I grabbed my guitar and went boing, 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 boing. That riff of the Amazon song, and we all thought, oh my God, this is so Sepultura, but who cares? This is about the Amazon, and this is sort of the sound that is attached to the Amazon, the sound that Sepultura was using in the 90s when they came up with the album Chaos AD, and then Roots. They sort of reinvented and metal and broke so many codes in metal, and sort of even launched, I think, what we call new metal. Bands like Korn and stuff like that. They fed on what Sepultura was inventing there. And so, shamelessly, we decided, yes, let's do this Sepultura sounding riff, and it's fine. Everybody loves good old Sepultura, and we're not trying to hide from our influences.
That was also going to be my next question, the message behind the song. And I also remember the fires in the Amazon back then. But can you maybe tell us a little bit more about the charity thing that you were just talking about?
Yes, absolutely. I've been talking to some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life through internet, but these indigenous leaders, mostly women, they all gathered around Sonia GOJIRA, who's the leader of APIBI, this indigenous-owned NGO. It's the most important NGO for indigenous in the world, I think, in Brazil for sure. So at first I met with the leader of the Guarani Kaiowá tribe. There are about 30,000 souls, and some of them are in the south of the Amazon forest, but they're considered an Amazon tribe. Only the forest shrunk so much that they're not in the forest anymore. They have just a small patch of forest left, and they're under attack daily. Their leader is wearing a bulletproof vest and sent her child away because he's the target of the army. They're trying to break them. It's a genocide. It's a cultural genocide. It's a human genocide, but it's sort of hidden. And the police and the army is corrupted and helping Bolsonaro to put pressure on the indigenous to kick them out. And we're all aware of that situation, but it seemed such a big problem to tackle that we're not even trying to do anything. What am I going to do? And one day I was tired to say, what am I going to do? And I told my bandmates, guys, we're in a position where we could actually do something, And this is extremely rewarding when you decide to one day, like out of the blue, to do something about something, and then months later, well, in this case it took almost 3 years to bring this thing to completion, because we wanted to do it with respect and reverence. We didn't want just to send the money to an NGO in Europe or in the States that would take 30% of the money and then do something that we can't really monitor. So we decided to go and meet these people. And with the help of some good friends of mine, activists, 2 Brazilian activist women in New York City, they led me with time and a lot of respect and very slowly and progressively to talk to these indigenous people. And I realized that there was no help coming to them. The leader of the Guarani Kaiowá tribe, called Jacqueline Kaiowá is her name. I asked her directly through the computer. They have helpers, people in Brazil bringing them laptops and internet connections so they can send a call for help. And I said, you must have a lot of artists or people coming to you offering help. Can you tell me, maybe I could partner up with some of these people to help you? And they said, there's nobody. The last person who tried to help us was Sting in the 90s. And I was shocked. I was very shocked, because when a problem is so well known, you would think a lot of people are doing things, and turns out not so much. So they feel very lonely, very desperate. One of these tribes they made a statement that they were going to just commit suicide, a collective suicide, and ask the government to bury their bodies where they belong in the jungle. There was a statement like that made when they were very depressed about the situation, and rightfully so. They get shot at, their forest is getting burnt by there's a lot of corruption and criminal activities going on around them. So, for example, the Guarani Kiowas, they have a project to build healing houses because they are losing their traditions and their medicinal plants that they go gather, and they have there's a whole thing around their traditional medicines, and they need some structure that they built themselves. They call them healing houses. I call them jungle hospital, to try to explain to people. And they're also victims of COVID. COVID is a thing for them too, but it's very hard for them to fight it. Also, because some of their structures got burned criminally, now we have to rebuild things so children can be born on indigenous land. It's about birthright. It's about, belonging somewhere and helping these people to organize things and to get, also equipped to denounce the attacks. For example, they need drones, they need cameras, they need movement detectors that they can put in the trees. I don't know. They need help. They really need help. And I became married to this project with the help of my friends, some amazing activists, people, really, really, really generous souls, and able to go through entire days and nights working hard to make this happen. And I know it seems like we're just raising money and putting it on an account, but it was a lot of work behind it to make this as efficient and respectful as possible. And I'm really, really, really excited to release the song because it carries that story with it, and it's all going to be launched today. So we decided to call our friends on the metal scene, guys from Metallica and Slayer and Mastodon and Ghost, and there's too many of them. Meshuggah. Any metal band you can think of is giving something at this point. And all these people are giving instruments, guitars and basses mostly, and some snares and Deftones, and all these guys are participating. We're going to do an auction, raise money. And for example, for the Guarani Kiowa tribe, they have a specific budget, specific amount of money. They are very organized in order to build these 15 jungle hospitals. They need $75,000. It's 2 instruments from famous people sold to bankers. And so when I thought of that, oh my God, really? And for them, it's 5 times what it represents in terms of money for an American person. So for them, it's a lot of money. But also, there's so many other things going on. We handpicked, so to speak, the people we were going to give the money to, according to their projects, and if it's a long-term project or a short-term project or something that's going to have a real impact for the survival of the Amazon. So we did our homeworks, and now when we ask people to contribute, we know it's going to be really, we're going to press the juice of this thing to the maximum.
And how can people like us or people over here support your charity project?
So it's very simple. We also we give that option to people to just simply donate money. So it could be €5, it could be 5,000 euros. So depending on what you can do, and also or something in between, whatever you can give. And also, we're organizing a sort of lottery. It's a raffle. You can buy a ticket. And this is very cool and very exciting because we had a reflection, the band and our management were thinking how to set this up in a way that everybody can get something out of it. So I hand-graved a guitar. I did a design on a guitar, and I spent like a whole night on it. I had a blast doing it, by the way. It was great. On my new signature guitar with my new pickups and stuff. It's a really nice guitar that I'm using all the time these days. I decorated it, and by buying a ticket, you enter a sort of lottery where you can win this. and there's also a vinyl and a sweatshirt from the band, and Mario's giving something away too, some art, original art on a drum skin. Randy Blythe from Lamb of God is giving away a framed picture, a signed picture, beautiful picture he did. So also there's going to be that, not only the auction that you can only buy, I imagine, if you're rich, because some of these items are very, very precious, like a bass from Metallica and stuff like that. But the raffle is going to allow people to maybe get that guitar in their house, and they are only going to spend maybe $10 on it. And you can also buy 10 tickets. So instead of having one ticket and one chance to win, you can multiply your chances to win, and by putting 100 euros, so then you have 10 tickets and more chances to win the guitar. And this money, even if you don't get a guitar, is going to do something really good. So that's the idea. We'll see how it goes. It's being launched right now as we speak. So I'm very excited.
Wow, really cool. Okay, let's go back to music. You already released Another World in mid-2020, and the song is now also on the album. The music video for that song is really strong and also underlines the message of the song. So let's go a bit into detail here. I was wondering, what kind of world were the four people looking for when they entered the rocket?
They're desperate, They're just... They Googled another world, and the Google gave them another world, and they're like, okay, let's go, with very little information. It was meant to be a funny, sort of humoristic video, because of course, the situation on planet Earth with this incredibly sexy parasite that is human beings is a great place, but it's very... It's not laughing material. It's not something you want to make jokes with, but we wanted this video to be funny. It's sort of a twist, our own take on Planet of the Apes. And, four metal dudes building a rocket that actually works, it's already funny. And the fact that GOJIRA, being a band that always wants to be positive about things and constructive and motivate people to be the best version of themselves, to save the world and everything, and I like that poetry. But for once, it was like, okay, no, let's not try to save anything. We're out of here. It's a way of saying, we went too far. We went too far. Not that there's too many people on the planet, like people love to say. I think it's just the way we behave and how we consume, and how unsustainable we are as a species. So it's funny to say we're out of here.
But to me, it seems that the people are in the end also desperate, because they travel to the future and find this planet where no people live anymore.
It's a paradox. I mean, the video itself, I think the story is it's very graphic and entertaining, but if you dig too much into it, you're gonna find a lot of gaps and errors, and I mean, it doesn't make sense to leave Earth thinking, oh, Earth is doomed anyway, and then being so sad to find out that you were right. You know what I mean? It's not... You cannot dig too much. The song is just about a feeling. It's about a feeling of desperation and anger and sadness, and I just want another world now. Okay, I'm done with this one. It's sort of the theme, And I remember when we came up with the song, this chorus just came out of me pouring, Mario played a pattern on the drums, and then we were sort of working on another musical idea, and he had to go somewhere. He left the studio, he left me with this drum pattern, and I just came up with this because I was doing some tests for the guitar, I was dialing the sound, and you never know when something interesting is going to come up, and I decided I'm going to record that. And then I thought, what kind of melody I'm going to sing on that? It sounds like a chorus, and I just went, another world. It just came out of me just like that. 1 minute after finding the riff, which was 1 minute after Mario recorded that these drums. So it was very one breath, one effort, it just came out just like that. When other songs can take months, or more.
It's very catchy.
Yeah, because I think there was something very direct and simple about it. And Another World, somebody's crying for another world. It's almost like a tantrum by a child, I don't want to go to bed, or, of course you have to go to bed because you have school tomorrow, right? And it's night, it's midnight already, huh? You got to go to bed. Well, the kid doesn't want to go to bed. And just like us saying, another world, I want another world. Yeah, but this is the only world we have, But doesn't matter. It's our tantrum.
But do you think it's possible for us to make our world another world?
Yes.
How?
Well, I'm not running for president, so I don't have to be too political. And must be a freaking nightmare to be a politician, because people ask, okay, what's the solution? And nobody wants to hear the solution. Okay, we got to pay more taxes, or you got to work more, you got to consume less, or you got to be a bit less comfortable, The solutions are not comfortable, For one thing, and this is something, it's a path I'm on for years, but I became a vegan. So I don't think you need to become vegan to save the world, but I think it's something to think about, Are the way we consume. For example, the Amazon is a victim of the meat industry, and soybeans are meant to feed cattle, and cattle need space, and so on and so on. But I think if everybody would consume meat more, a little less meat, for example, could go a long way. That's if everybody would do that. But are we going to wait for everybody to do something to do it ourselves? The only way for everybody to do something is that every single person would decide to start doing it. So there are solutions. Also, when you buy a fruit or a vegetable that is coming from the other side of the planet, you need to think, okay, how many trucks were driving, and how many boats and planes were flying to bring me that avocado or that banana. That's another thing too, the way we eat, the way we consume is number one, because we eat 3 times a day, or 4 or 5, sometimes 2 if you're on a diet, whatever. But we eat constantly. We consume things, we put it in our mouth, and then it makes what we are. Physically, it makes our physical body. So we are a manifestation, a representation of our the type of consumerism we are in, And I think the power is in our pocket, is in our wallet. You don't need to have a lot of money to choose between this and that. And sometimes one organic fruit, seasonal organic vegetable fruit, is maybe more expensive than a supermarket piece of crap with water in it. But it's more nutritious too. So you buy one instead of 2, but you get much more. I think sustainability is different for every person, and we always have a choice, but I always come back to that, and it's so boring and non-metal. It's not metal at all to talk like that, but it's in your local shops and your supermarkets that the fate of the world is, of the fate of humanity, because the world is not going anywhere. The planet's going to be fine once we're gone, or once we get our shit together. It's going to be one or the other. We need to get our shit together, or we're going to die. But I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything original here. It's been said before by so many much smarter people than me.
Yeah, of course. But what I also think, or as you just said, the Amazonia is also destroyed because people eat so much meat. I know that it's hard to change habits and everything, but I think a big mistake that people do a lot is that they want to change 100%. And so what I tell people when they ask me what they can do to make the planet better, then I say, well, you can also have a cheat day. If you really want to eat this avocado today, then you can do it, but you just have to think about it in a conscious way, and it's okay to not be 100% perfect.
Yeah,
and if everybody would be 80% perfect, the world would be so much better.
Hallelujah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah. And cheat days are important,
Thank you.
and all that. I don't think we should put tremendous pressure on ourselves. because otherwise we're going to be, damn it, I give up.
Yep.
We're never going to make it if we reach for perfection. On my path with veganism was very interesting. I have full support from my wife, and I were doing this together, which helps tremendously, because otherwise it would be very difficult. But at the beginning, we would, have some fish or some meat once in a while, but then it slowed down, and then we transitioned to full vegan, and we discovered so many good things that it replaced the things we thought we were going to miss. And we feel much better. I feel in a good shape. I don't need to work out anymore to be in a good shape. I never worked out anyway. But you know what I mean? There's a lot of positive things. When you dare to change your habits and your ways, good things will come to you.
Let's go back to the video. Who had the idea for the video and who produced it?
I wrote the script. I even did a storyboard. So you see, that was made a long time before the beginning of the shoot, but they kept some of the elements, I don't know why I wanted to put these stupid glasses on Jean-Michel, because I thought it was funny, So the lyrics are coming up on the newspaper, all these things were sort of planned. And Google, all these things, Jean-Michel showing us what to do. I wanted Jean-Michel to be in this position. Our bass player is usually the one sitting on the chair and playing video games. So I wanted him to be the boss of the whole operation. I wanted the thing to look a little more old school and like old Russian space travelers. Turns out, these the guys that did the video, we were planning to shoot a real movie, but because of COVID, we couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to do this animated film, and these guys are very high tech, so they couldn't help putting a lot of high tech stuff on the video, which originally I didn't want. I wanted to look really ghetto, so I didn't get the ghetto aspect of the video enough. I was a bit frustrated, but they did such a great job and such a short notice too. It was a challenge.
Okay, so let's come to your new music, to your new record. It's called Fortitude, and in my opinion, Fortitude sounds like a crossing of Magma with a traditional GOJIRA sound. So what can you tell us about the first reactions of the people who listen to the new record, like a family or like your biggest friends?
Or journalists.
Everybody seems to like it and understand. Family is the tricky part. I didn't marry my wife for her tastes in music. I married her because she was so beautiful. I saw her and I fell in love immediately, and it was incredible. But then she's not necessarily a music critic, right? So her comments are often, you should add this thing that goes woo and stuff like that. It's very strange comments for me as a metalhead, but turns out sometimes it's inspiring the ideas that she have. So we're doing a lot of things together. We're raising kids together. We travel. We love to travel together, but she's not necessarily the best advisor for writing metal songs, but she has her own view on things. And then there's my sister, who's been following us since the beginning, but she's very death metal, and she's she likes it dark and gloomy. So she will listen to our new stuff and be like, "Huh, okay, yeah, sure, not bad." So sometimes we get pretty depressed, and we're like, "What are the fans gonna think?" So not everybody is a fan of the band. And it's tricky to play the music and while we write it. It's very interesting that we can't confront every step of the way with the fans, and that would be such a headache too. We would just want to be done with our thing and then release it. But the reactions have been pretty good so far, and I like that you say that it's a mix between Magma and older material. That's how I feel too, But really, it's us, it's us today, or rather 2 years ago, but whatever.
And from your point of view, what are the main difference between Magma and Fortitude?
So Magma is more of a personal album. There's something very personal and intimate, almost. Something hard to communicate that transforms into music and grief. It's not a secret that me and my brother lost our mom while writing Magma. It's life. We all lose parents. We all lose friends and family, and this is the way of life. And it shouldn't be a dramatic thing, but it's something to process and to, it's a big milestone in life. So we were going through that. As a result, Magma is rather dark and, intimate, in the realm of psyche and dreams. When Fortitude is more of an outgoing album with opinions about the world, and it's more, and I will dare to say, political. It's a political album. If you give your opinion about something, you become political.
So, was this the main aim which you started to work on Fortitude, to be more political?
I don't want to be more political. It's only a conclusion, to say that it's more political. We were always like that, pretty much, in that ballpark. Like we give our opinion, we give our feeling about what's going on in the world. And I want to say metal for me is a music of rebellion, is a music of change, is a music of breaking patterns and breaking rules. And it should serve as a vehicle for change and for civil disobedience and for new ideas to come and for breaking the rules and breaking the law, you know what I mean? So if it loses that, then it becomes nothing, an empty shell somehow. If you're going to play metal and talk about, with hip hop lyrics, then it's not going to work anymore. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But for me, rock and metal should serve a greater purpose.
So should Fortitude be the soundtrack for everybody to break the rules, for everybody's revolution?
I don't want to start a riot. No, it's complicated. It's complicated, man. I don't know. I wouldn't want to start a riot. I wouldn't want to lead an angry mob to the city hall and to change things. No, but I think I was like that younger, I'm French, so I love to protest in the streets. It's almost like a tradition, there's Christmas time and then there's a protest time and then there's Easter, whatever. It's a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But then it becomes too much of a tradition and it loses the anger and the real thing. But I think true revolution is going to come through individuals. Like, I don't think you can organize a revolution. I think it needs to come from within. You're going to have your own revolution, or you're having it right now, or you had it already, and then I'm having my own revolution, and then we'll meet on the other side. Where things can be better. We need to stand on the right side of history, my friend, together. But you can't push nobody there. It's like therapy. Therapy, if you go to see a shrink to know about your problems, and you cannot push a friend or loved one to go. It has to come from you. Otherwise, it's lost. It's not going to work.
Music is the best therapy you have ever had.
Me too. Me too. Yes, we agree on that.
So your title, Fortitude, we would translate it with strength or force or brave. So what do you want to say with the title, Fortitude, and the artwork? So what is the combination between title and artwork?
I'm going to tell you exactly. I wasn't sure at first, My brother's like, so, Joe, you have an idea for the next album? What are you going to talk about? And I was like, I don't know. Aliens? I don't know, gardening? I'm like, no, wait. Strength, And I went like this, strength. We're going to talk about strength. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, cool. How are you going to call the album? I'm like, I don't know, strength? And I'm like, no, strength is not good. But wait a second. Fortitude. La fortitude is also a French word, and fortitude is spelled exactly the same. For us, it's sort of important that a French person could understand the title, at least that, And it's a beautiful meaning that, fortitude is, when you're courageous in adversity, when there's something, life is throwing something at you, but you stay strong. It's such a beautiful image. So only the image, the idea of it came first. We're gonna express something like strong. We need to be strong. And Mario and I are very close, and we support each other through hard times. For example, if we rehearse and he enters the room, he's having a bad day, and I see it right away. I know him, and he's very kind, and he doesn't want to put it on other people, so he'll keep it to himself. But after playing, I'll go to him. I'm like, "What's up, brother?" He's like, "What do you mean?" And I say, "Yeah, tell me. I see that you're not feeling good today. What's going on?" And he'll be like, "Okay, this and this and this." I'm like, "I knew it." So, and for me, the same. I enter a room, he's looking at me, he's like, "Oh, something's wrong." So we know each other very well. We share our views on the world, and we often talk about how hard it is to make it through the day. Just simply go through the day from morning to evening, and having interactions with your family and your friends and the police and whatever. You go through your day, you get pulled over, and get a ticket, and then you try to write a song, it doesn't work, and then your wife is mad at you for no reason when you were trying to do the right thing. One time I brought roses to my wife, and she said, I hate roses. I'm like, "Oh shit, I totally brought the wrong flowers. My day was ruined. I'm that sensitive. I take things personally, and Mario too. So we feel both that we need a lot of strength, we need a lot of fortitude to go through the day, and whatever life is going to throw at you, we can do it, we can defeat it. And often we motivate each other like that. So we wanted to do the same to our fans through the music, yeah, sure, it's bad, sure, sure it's hard, sure it's cold, sure it's too hot, sure it's whatever, but you can make it, and you can be creative about it and find your own way in life and get comfortable. If there's something you love to do, just do it as much as possible, and stuff like that. So we want to invite people to be the best version of themselves, to be as strong as they can, but not in a macho muscle kind of way, like real beautiful strength that we can all have, that plants have, that animals have, that planets have. We have that in us, and we could be, glowing stars, or we could be black holes, It depends on the kind of music you listen to, I guess. I don't know.
There are also some songs with, I would say, chant-like elements, so like Hold On, Fortitude, and obviously the chant. So what fascinates you about this kind of sound?
Yeah, I find it soothing and real. I love mantras, a mantra is when you repeat, I'm sure you know what it is, but it's when you repeat something over and over, to an invitation for that thing to materialize.
Like the guitars in GOJIRA.
Yeah, so a mantra is an invitation, a prayer, something where you're going to make something happen with your own will and spirit. But a chant with no words could also carry a meaning or an energy. We love that. Also, this album, I want to say, the mantra is a primitive thing, is an indigenous thing, is something that is going through your entire body and is sort of the way I see it, putting your roots deeper into the ground and your head higher into the stars, and you become a link between the ground and the sky, when you vibrate with a mantra. But a mantra is not necessarily a word. It could also be a melody, and a chant is sort of a musical mantra to me. But there's a lot of intention behind that chant of the song, the chant, which is sort of a highlight of the album. It's where we stepped out of our comfort zone and we went towards something a little different, but that makes us feel so good, When we were jamming that song, Mario started to sing behind the drums, and he never does that. He usually only play drums. On the chant, I was playing the chorus, and he was singing his heart out, because he couldn't help it. So I thought, that's a good sign.
The last song, Grind, reminds me a lot of the opener, Born for One Thing. Was it planned to kind of go back to the beginning with the last song?
Not really, but now that you say that, it could be an unconscious thing that when, to me, the way we open the door to the album is very important. And the way we close the door is important too. It's just like when you do I did a bit of Reiki when I was younger, 15 years ago. When you do Reiki is when you work with energies with people, you put your hands on people and you visualize this energy that goes to them. It's sort of a healing technique. And in Reiki, you learn how to not disconnect your hands from a person that is receiving a healing process, because it could be a small trauma. It could be traumatizing to have your eyes closed and you feel comfortable and you feel cared for by somebody's energy and hands. If this person all of a sudden leaves the room without saying anything, it could be traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? Because for a minute, you put yourself between the hands of somebody. So when people are going to take that journey with us and actually pay attention, because they can also blast the music in the background and it doesn't matter. But if they want to go through that album, it's important how we take them by the hand and, okay, come with us. And then we're going to leave them at the end. And the way we leave the people with the way we say goodbye is very important. And it needs to be, respectful somehow. So Grind has this super long outro where you understand, okay, this is the last song, it's over, goodbye, but you have time, to say goodbye. And I liked that. The fact that it starts really hard. And the message is also very confusing because in the song I say surrender to the grind after spending the whole time on the album saying, break the rules, break the laws, be your own reality, overcome, see what's out there. And then I'm like, okay, surrender to the grind of life. I say that because, I like paradoxes and stuff like that. And I think there is a freedom in discipline, If you want to be good at something, you're going to have to work for it. And if you do it with a lot of discipline, then you're going to find freedom through discipline, which sounds like a paradox, but it was just this idea of the grind of life that if you go against it too much, you could lose.
In the song Born for One Thing, you sing about that we were born to overcome the greatest fear. So what, in your opinion, is this greatest fear? We also thought about that, and one of our colleagues said it's death, but I think it is change, that people are really afraid of change and that we have to overcome this fear this fear about change.
Huh. So it's funny because it's death. It is death that I meant, but now that you say that, it should be change. Because you're right. It's a better interpretation. But it is the same thing in a way, because when you change, you have to leave something behind, right? So if you change your house, you got to leave your neighbors, you got to leave your house, you got to leave your backyard, and you go into the unknown. And if you change, if you're not this silly person that makes everybody laugh all the time and making a fool of yourself, and then one day you change, you realize, no, wait, this is not me. I have to change. So you're going to lose the friends that liked that in you, and you don't know what you're going to find. But the idea of behind that song is pretty much the same, because when you die, you leave all these things behind and you're going to the unknown.
But I think on the other side, if you stand still, the question is, if you stand still, are you alive?
Wow.
It's my opinion.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, of course. It seems a bit radical to talk like that, but yeah. If you're not evolving, you might as well be dead, because really it's true. Who wants to simply go through the motion and stop thinking and developing new cells? We need to be challenged. We're curious beings, and we're meant to evolve or become monsters. Why not? And then go down like full force. But stagnation, it sounds very much like the worst thing you can possibly experience. Yeah.
Except as an artist.
Yes. Yeah. Slayer didn't change their music much, but for them it works. Did they?
I think in the mid-90s, they put some new metal stuff in their sound, but after this, with God Hates Us All, this isn't a rap element, so thrash all the time, like the first 5 5 records, but I know what you mean.
No, but they went back to their old ways, and that's what people want. But they evolve in different ways. It was a terrible example. I don't want to say Slayer's dead, but they actually are somehow. But whatever.
Do you miss Slayer?
Yes. Yeah, we have the same management.
Okay.
And we did one tour with them. It was so incredible being opening for Slayer, watching them every night, being part of history somehow because we were there when they were saying goodbye. Their last show in Italy, very last show in Italy, we were there opening for them, main support. Very last show in, what was it, Portugal? We were there. Very last show in Poland, we were there. So we witnessed Slayer saying goodbye to all these concerts. It was heartbreaking. I was in the dressing room shaking. No, it's not happening. But it's so cool to be part of that.
Speaking about touring, you're very aware of the environment. So touring is not so good for the environment, I think, because you travel a lot. Is there a way to tour in a sustainable way?
That's a very good question. We are doing our best to limit our impact on the environment when we travel, and I've thought about that a great deal. You know, when I was 22, I lived in the forest for 2 years. I built a cabin, and I was, cooking on fire. I didn't have electricity. I just had candles and running water with my girlfriend at the time. But at first, I was by myself, and I was completely out of the traffic, so to speak. And I thought this is the only way to live in a sustainable way. But I was writing music, and I was still coming out of the woods to meet with my band and practice. And we had some shows, but it was the beginning. It was we were writing the 2 first albums was around that time. And one day I decided, you know what, I have too much to say. I have too much in me to share with the world. I think I could maybe, with my band, we could have an impact, on the world that is more important than just being out of the traffic, So there was that thing. And also I thought, I'm trying to justify us, being on a tour bus going, traveling so much. And it's hard. Believe me, I have to scratch my head a lot. I'm like, oh my God, how is this sustainable? But you got to think that 20 guys, between 15 and 20 people, we're on the road together. We use just one lamp. When we go back home, everybody's in their house with 15 lamps on, but when we tour, and a lot of us are singles, or whatever, I have my family at home still when I go away, but also we don't shower that much on tour. I know it sounds stupid, but somehow it's not just more pollution. There's also something to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, when we tour in the summer in the States, and the bus is in the middle of a parking lot at a festival, and the engine is running all fucking day for the AC, because there's no oxygen in these freaking buses. So yeah, this is horrible, and I hate it. It makes me feel miserable. Is there a way to make it sustainable? Sure, maybe, but it's not there yet. So now the question is, should we cancel all our tours to not pollute, or should we get out there and share our energy with people, and maybe it'll inspire them to make something with their lives? We could contribute to inspire
Go out there
them.
and share your message. Yes.
That was my conclusion too. But honestly, it's killing me. And we've had people coming at us and talking about it. Hey, you talk about environment. Well, look at your tour bus. It's fucking disgusting, And it's true. We, for example, we do little things. We can do little things. We provided our entire crew because that was something planned, and COVID canceled our plans. By the way, I'm super happy to not be on tour for a year. It's a wonderful break for us and for the earth and for everybody. But we provided our entire crew with aluminum bottles. It says GOJIRA on it. And so no more plastic bottles on tour, Single-use plastic is also another fight that we're doing. And we put on our rider, and that's recent, that there cannot be one single plastic bottle in the room when we show up for a show. So we have venues, we force venues to be equipped with tanks of water, and provide sustainable ways. And we are going to provide our crew and opening bands with aluminum bottles where they can have their name tag on it. And then they can go to the tanks of water that we ask the venue to purchase. And then they're going to be equipped for other bands after us. And now that we're on this path, we're trying to do little actions like that. We become very sensitive to it. I can't remember the last time I bought a plastic bottle, for example. But before, I was always buying water, feeling sorry, for buying plastic. But it's so exciting to actually do something, even if it's a little thing. So believe me, when there's going to be a way to tour in a sustainable manner, we'll jump on it right away.
So, last question about your band. You never changed your lineup. What's your secret?
We don't have a secret that I know of. Well, I think it's communication. Okay, so if I'm going to try to come up with an answer, but really, if you want communication, appreciation for each other. Also, we're a bit lucky, I think, because the stars were aligned on our. We have the right personalities. We complete each other pretty well. There's no massive ego problems in the band. We complete each other. We help each other out, and we complement each other. Also, the fact that we never had a single on the radio that did really good, and then the year after we did really bad. Or an album where there's just one song that everybody wants to hear and nobody gives a fuck about the rest. That could kill an artist too, when there's this one song that everybody wants to hear. For us, it's not the case, People say, I love this album and this album and this. I hope you're going to play everything from this album. We are confronted to music lovers. And we never went down also. We never tried to follow any trend like in the 2000s, when bands started to do this weird fusion with rap and hip hop that could be really good. But, some bands got lost in this and then they lost their fans and then they tried to, wait, we're still a metal band, look. So we never went through that stuff. We always did our super complicated and dark death metal. And then it became less complicated and less dark. And we progressed, it was very progressive. So every time we would go on tour, we would see more, bigger venues or more people come in. So that kept our feet on the ground, to never have a big success and to never fall back or lose our fans. Also, we always have something bright on the horizon to look forward to. So we're all excited in the band to see what's next for our band.
Okay. Marcel, do you want to ask the last question?
So, as I mentioned, I wanted to know what is your most favorite song at this moment? If you have to choose one.
It's a song from the next Mastodon album that I'm listening to now because Braun sent it to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm even allowed to say a title or anything, but I gotta say, it's a song by Mastodon.
Okay. So, Pia, what about you?
I want to mention two songs. The first one is more a kind of shout out. I did this in an episode we did in German, but now that we talked so much about sustainability and what we do to the planet, I want to give a shout out to the German band Devil May Care with the song Into the Abyss, which puts the focus on whale hunting and stuff like that, and they support the Sea Shepherds with this song.
Yes.
And my favorite song at the moment, if you listened until now, I think people out there, you are a fan of GOJIRA. And there is another band in Germany called Burn Down Eden. They are from Berlin and they released the self-titled new album today, and they are also very technical. And I would recommend listening to The Five Horsemen. So, Marcel, what's your favorite song?
I have to say that 2 hours ago, I wanted to put a bolt thrower with the kill chain. But as we talk about braveness and to be strong, I just want to choose Gravedigger with Braveheart.
Nice. So this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you, Joe, for being the guest in today's episode.
It was my absolute pleasure.
We are looking forward to Fortitude. Fortitude comes out on April 30th. So, thank you. Again, thank you, Marcel, for also being here with me.
Thank you, Pio, and thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
And bye-bye.
Bye.